Hey there, Pisces, and welcome to your 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these videos for artists, entrepreneurs, and anybody who is interested in their personal growth, psychological healing, spirituality, and self-expression in any form. So if any of those areas of life are interesting to you, go ahead and keep watching. I also wanted to let you know that you can use these readings for your sun, moon, and your rising sign, and I recommend that you watch all of those that are important for you because you'll get more of a broader overview of the potential energies that you could be experiencing in 2020. And I also want to say too that it's normal and natural if sometimes these readings don't make sense at the time that you hear them, because we are looking a full year in advance. And so I recommend kind of maybe saving this video to your liked videos or saving the link somewhere so that you can come back to this reading throughout the year, because it's very likely that these messages will start to make a lot more sense as we go through the year. Okay, Pisces, I want to share with you what was coming through in the meditation because it was very specific. So hopefully this rings a bell for someone out there, but while I was tuning in, I asked my guides to give me some insight into what this year is all about for you. And I had a couple of things coming through that were thematically connected. The first one was that I saw, and this is really funny, but I saw like a church choir, and they were kind of singing almost like really angelic music. And the second thing that I saw was like a very large church, but it was like I think it was more like a synagogue. But anyway, the messages that were coming through, it felt very much to me like 2020 is a year of pilgrimage for you in some way, Pisces. This is a year in which I feel many of you will be traveling to sites that you feel are sacred to you, whether that is because they're sacred to you due to your religious beliefs, or if it's personally a sacred place, like maybe you had a very transformative and beautiful experience out in nature somewhere on a trip. You could be going back to that place, and you're going to be feeling a lot of those same feelings that you had when you were there, when you made those really impactful memories. There's also a sense of just recognizing how places and locations on Earth are sacred to you personally and have a sanctified energy. So again, like I said, this is very specific, but I feel like many of you are almost traveling to what you would call kind of like your temple in some way. And that could be at any point in 2020. It could also be that you are setting sacred space for yourself more in your home and seeing your home as a sacred temple, seeing your body as well as a sacred temple. There's a general feeling of these images and the sound and the vibration and everything that was being communicated to me in the meditation that's like Pisces is going places that feel important or feel holy almost. There's a feeling of creating the sacredness and the sanctification in your environment as well. So just recognizing how space creates the ability for you to tune in to higher frequencies. So many of you could be decluttering this year or going into 2020. You could be decluttering and simplifying your home. You could be getting some houseplants even, because if having houseplants around and having a clean and tidy space makes your home feel more sacred and empowering for you, then that could be one of the things that makes 2020 feel like a very special year for you, because you're just kind of working on connecting more with the environments that you find yourself in. And that always starts with your home, but it also means that many of you, I feel, are going to be going on some kind of pilgrimage this year. You could be going somewhere that is just very meaningful for you, like going to some kind of sacred site, planning some kind of trip like that. If you've been considering planning some kind of trip like that, Pisces, I think this reading and this message is probably coming through, and the fact that you're listening to it right now is coming through as a validation for you that that would be a healthy and uplifting thing for you this year. So I'm excited to take a look at your cards and see kind of what more we can get out of this energy, because this year just feels very soulful for you Pisces. It feels like there's just this feeling of I don't know how to describe it, but if you've ever been in a sacred place, you can feel it. There's almost kind of a force field around it, and you just feel different while you're there. And for some reason, your portal into 2020 has that same feeling to me, Pisces. So let's go ahead and take a look at your energy as it shows up in the cards. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. That was it. Okay, Pisces. And I'm also going to get you a message from the Animal Spirit Oracle. Pisces, Pisces. And we're going to take a look at this creature because it will be giving you some insight into the energy of the year and the transformations you're going through. Wow. And we have dolphins. So is this not such a beautiful and perfect card for a Pisces to get? I love the energy of this card, and actually this card and the dragon card were the ones that came through for me when I first got this deck at the opening of it in Portland, Oregon. So there's just something really special to me about this card, and I'm not at all surprised to see this here because, as well, dolphins are creatures that migrate, and that really fits in with the energy of sort of migration and pilgrimage and experiencing, you know, the beauty of your surroundings and finding joy in that, finding something to relish in not only the travels that you're engaging in, but also how you feel in your own skin and how you feel at home. There's a sense of finding joy in the little things and the big things when we get the dolphin card. So there's just a shitload of joy, basically, Pisces. And I'm cussing, but I feel like it's fine because I feel like you guys get it. But there's something here about just really feeling at home within yourself. And then when you feel that way, it's like you belong everywhere. You can go places, you can do things, you can have new experiences, but you're always kind of coming back to that beautiful, nurtured sense of being centered in yourself. I see this also as being a very playful year in terms of your self-expression. So if any of you are maybe thinking, oh, I'd really love to write a book, or I'd really love to start a YouTube channel, or I'd really, really love to create a group, the dolphin card is saying, you know, go for it and have fun. Like, prioritize your sense of humor, Pisces. Keep it lighthearted. I feel like the real beauty of a Pisces is that when you light up with joy, I mean, everyone can see it on your face. Everyone can feel it in your energy. When you are just purely focused on something that fills you up with light, you're like, you just magnify it, you know, and everybody around you just feels it and relishes in it. So I think this is absolutely a gorgeous start to this reading. And I think you're going to be very protected by the frequency of joy that you hold. So let me say that one more time. When you raise your vibration, Pisces, and you mind joy for yourself, like you prioritize joy first thing in the morning, you're going to do something that makes you feel good. It's non-negotiable. You're never going to miss it. You're never going to skip it. Even if it's just something that takes 2 minutes or 5 minutes, like a quick meditation or a little bit of automatic writing or a little bit of fiction writing, whatever. Do something that really brings you joy and make it non-negotiable every day. And I think that vibration of joy is going to actually be a protective shield for you. Just like what I'm seeing with the circle around the dolphin is like when you have that high vibration, it just lifts you up and out of any like potential to be harmed by something else in your environment, because it's not the same like point of attraction, you know what I mean? And things are always going to come up that cause us to grow. But my point is that when we hold that high vibration within ourselves, we can see whatever challenges come to us as opportunities to reach an even higher vibration of transcendence. So that's the attitude I want you to take. And I want you to just be fiercely joyful in your life this year. Prioritize that. And if you're ever feeling it starting to wane, don't let that happen. Just recirculate it back. Come back to yourself. When you start to feel yourself getting out of balance or out of alignment, that's when you know, okay, I need some me time. I need some Pisces time. It's time for me to love myself a little bit more and recognize that I am choosing to think about the situation in a distorted way. And that's the only reason that I'm not like feeling this much joy. So, you know, I feel like there's a lot in that message, but I think the main portion of it is really just to prioritize joy, and your sense of being joyfully connected to your higher self is going to protect and guide you throughout the year. So let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. So we've got the Eight of Pentacles. We've got the Eight of Cups. It's so funny because I almost said the Eight of Cups when I was looking at this, and I was like, why did I almost say cups? And then it's funny because then we get the Eight of Cups. Chariot. We've got Five of Pentacles. We've got 10 of Cups in May. We've got Two of Swords. We've got Five of Swords in July. August, we have Three of Wands. September, we have the Tower. Four of Pentacles in October. November, we have the Magician. And we have the 10 of Swords at the end of the year. Interesting. So I am seeing that theme of travel coming through for sure in multiple of these cards. We're also seeing some interesting energy like in the beginning of the year. Eights for me are a power number. It's all about self-empowerment, and when we have two eights in the beginning of the year, these are kind of forming like the overall theme of the year of 2020 for you. So they're not just talking about January and February, they're also talking about the full year. And what I'm seeing here, so first of all, you go into 2020 with a lot of work, a lot of focus on development of something. I'm seeing something as well about maybe the practice of witchcraft or nature-based spirituality when I look at this card. I also see, I don't know if some of you are like making candles or having some kind of project that you do at home. I think I could really see that with the way that this person looks on the card. But in general, I feel like, you know, you could be working on just your skill set in any area of life, Pisces. It could even be in finance and investing and in that whole realm of things, because we have the Pentacles here and we have somebody working at night. This is a nighttime image as well in February. And the interesting thing is, you know, February is the month when your season begins. And actually, when your season begins, there's some really positive energy. Right as the sun goes into Pisces on the 19th, Mercury will be retrograde at that time. So it's going to be a little bit more of a feeling-oriented time is what I get when Mercury is in Pisces and retrograde. It definitely feels to me like our intuitive sensations of life are going to be more prominent and more impactful than maybe our like logic and rational side. So that could be a factor. But also we have a positive aspect between your traditional ruler, Jupiter, and your modern ruler, Neptune. There's a sextile between Jupiter and Neptune at that time, and that's actually going to be a really healing influence. If you're familiar with the astrology of 2019, we've had square aspects between Jupiter and Neptune throughout 2019, which have definitely been more challenging and have presented, like for some Pisceans, I think, a feeling of being pulled in two different directions, right? Because they're both your rulers, depending on what perspective you take on the astrology. And it kind of feels like, at least it felt like to me, and what I was seeing was that it felt almost like you were kind of getting tugged in two different directions with that astrological aspect happening. But now we have the sextile, so it's going to be a lot more harmonious, I feel, for many of you as we go into 2020, and actually as the sun moves into Pisces on the 19th, and then we have that positive aspect going on with Jupiter and Neptune right around that same time on the 20th. there is going to be an overall sense of unification, integration of your life lessons, and a sense of, okay, now that I know what I know, now that I've worked on everything that I have worked on, this is what my intuition is telling me I need to move towards. This is the unification of my internal growth over the last year or so. There's a sense of moving forward with faith. And even look, there's a dolphin. This is the only card in this deck that has a dolphin on it. And you also got the dolphin card from the Animal Spirit Oracle. So the dolphin energy is really strong with you this year, Pisces. And that energy is going to really be, it's showing again that you are protected by your joy. You are protected by your willingness to live a high vibrational existence, whatever that means for you. If that means living the lifestyle that you know makes you feel the best, regardless of however other people might judge it as weird or strange or whatever. It's like when you completely embrace and surrender to that kind of quirkiness, that weirdness, that maybe your diet is totally weird and different, or maybe how you exercise is totally weird and different, or maybe what you want to do for a living or what you already do for a living is totally weird and different. I think just taking joy in being on your own path and being able to proceed with that kind of faith in yourself, that is incredibly empowering. And I feel like that in itself is a protective shield around you. So that's what we're getting for not only the beginning of the year, but actually throughout the year. Those are the energies you're carrying throughout the year. I see March potentially, this is still the bulk of your season is in March. We have the Chariot. So this is that travel that we were talking about. There could be some kind of travel going on around your birthday, maybe a surprise trip, maybe a trip that you're spontaneously planning. The Chariot also is about taking like the reins of your own life. So there could be a moment right around your birthday season where you're just like, you know what, I'm going for it. Like I'm proud of this. I'm proud of myself. I've done so much work to get here and I'm going for it. So you could be moving. If you are moving, Pisces, I see you moving across borders for some reason with this card. So maybe out of the country or out of the state, or at least to a different county or city. I see this as being pretty significant, like a pretty significant move if you are moving at this time, Pisces. Could also be the purchase of a home or the purchase of a business, the purchase of something large that is, like maybe even travel-wise. It could be the purchase of a car, for example, because the Chariot also has mundane associations with, cars, and being that it is the man-made kind of vehicle in the tarot. So you could be buying a new car or new to you around March. April, we have the Five of Pentacles, so it's natural that maybe after you've been traveling or purchasing a new home or purchasing a new car or making some kind of big investment in March, which, could definitely be going on. I feel like with the Five of Pentacles, in April, you may just have this overall sense of like, okay, I need to rein this in. I need to be really clear about my finances. Mercury will be going direct, I believe, on March 9th. So there is something here in between March and April where if you didn't plan great before Mercury goes into retrograde, or before kind of like these big changes are going on in your life and in your career in February and March, if you didn't plan like a lot financially wise, you could be experiencing some of the effects of that in April. And I don't think it's going to be like super serious. I do see you just budgeting a lot. So just be mindful of that since you're getting this reading, hopefully before 2020. be mindful of your finances and start thinking ahead. Maybe put away some extra savings before April, and then that way, if you do experience a little bit of like a tighter squeeze on your finances in March or April, then it's like you can handle it, no big deal, because you already put away a little bit of extra. And then if you don't experience it, then, well, you just have some extra savings, so there's no problem. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, is just a little bit of planning and preparation here, and a little bit of like projecting yourself into the future, you know, conscientiously projecting into the future and thinking, what am I going to need realistically? What bills might I have? Because the other thing is, at least in the US, tax season is in April. So you might owe a little more than you think you do, Pisces. Or you might need to apply yourself into some very creative tax strategies. If you are going to feel that taxes are going to be a burden on you or your business, start thinking strategically ahead now. Start planning out your expenses now for your business, so that you're not surprise hit with a bill in April that you weren't expecting. So that's kind of what I see there. I do see good vibes coming up, though, with the energy of May. We have 10 of Cups. So there's some kind of family event maybe in May, or some kind of positive energy coming through for you in May that has to do with your home and family life. I think this is going to be, honestly, a really happy time. I see this potentially being involving children in some way, Pisces. So if you tend to work with children, or if you are having a child yourself, or if you have children, there's something here about like a lot of joy and a lot of impact that you can have positively on maybe a younger person's life. There could also just be something to celebrate with your family. Maybe your partner, if you're partnered, could get a really awesome new promotion, or they might get a big project finished, and it's like, let's go celebrate. It's that kind of vibe. So really beautiful there. With the 2 of Swords and the 5 of Swords in June and July, this is an interesting energy, and we're going to have a lot of planets in retrograde. Venus will have gone direct. I think Venus is going direct in June, at the end of June. Yeah, Venus will be retrograde for most of May and June. So that does fall into this time frame with the 2 of Swords and the 5 of Swords. But we're going to have, during this general section of the year, we're going to have Venus turn retrograde, Mercury turn retrograde, and the outer planets turning retrograde, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto. So there's going to be a lot of retrograde energy going on, and I've seen this in a lot of other signs' cards as well. So I do feel this is going to affect you, but not in like a bad way. I just think that there could be something around that time with the 2 of Swords where you are unsure maybe of what path you want to take moving forward, or perhaps you're getting pressure from people outside of you with the 5 of Swords. You're getting pressure from people outside of you that they want you to make some kind of choice, or they want you to react or respond to something, but you don't quite know what to say because you don't know what you want to do about it yet, which is the 2 of Swords. So you're kind of like dithering a little bit, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that it's possible that other people around you could be almost kind of rushing you, and you're kind of like, back the fuck off, like, I haven't made my decision yet, I don't know what I want to do. Or you might also feel a little bit like there's a lot of eyeballs on you with this particular version of the 5 of Swords. I know that's not a typical version or typical meaning of, you know, the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the 5 of Swords, but there's something here about like feeling people's eyes on you, feeling some kind of pressure from people outside of you, and your attitude on that is like, I'm not taking any like stuff right now from you guys. Like, I just need to have some time to myself. I need to think this through. I need to go in my room and turn some music on and lay down in my bed and just like go on a journey internally, almost like a meditation journey, to figure out the answers, because you're going to probably feel and a lot of us are going to feel that this is a little bit of an interesting time period energetic-wise. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it is unusual to have that many planets in retrograde. So I think you're going to feel that, but it's going to cause you to go within. And that's actually why you're in that situation where you have people maybe wanting you to do conflicting things. Maybe you feel like you're in the middle of something and one side wants you to agree with them, the other side wants you to agree with them, and you're kind of caught in the middle. That could be kind of how this plays out a little bit. And so you just detach. You're just like, you guys work it out. This ain't me. Like, that's not because of me, so I'm not going to get involved. And you have permission to respond that way, Pisces, because especially while we're dealing with the tail end of at least Mercury retrograde into the middle of July, you're going to probably be fine to just say, we'll talk about this later, And I think that by the end of July, you'll probably have some kind of clarity on how you want to move forward. But you're going to do it in your own way. And I say that because here we have the Two of Swords in June. July, we have the Five of Swords. So the pressure is on, right, for you to make some kind of choice or for you to proceed in some kind of way. Then August, we have the Three of Wands. So here, there's the two wands behind him that have sprouted. And I look at this almost like the two swords that she's holding here. You've been bouncing ideas around about two potential paths that you could take or two things that you could do. And by the time we get to August, you see a third option that you didn't know about before, and you're like, oh, hang on, this is what it is. This is what it's about. And it's not what you were being pressured into. It's your own way. You're doing it your way, Pisces. You're doing it your way. And I feel like this is why he's grabbing onto the wand and leaving these two behind. And maybe these two options have changed some because now here they're wands, whereas here they were swords. So my guidance and advice to you, Pisces, is that between May and August, you're going to go on a little bit of a journey. And I think that the situation, whatever the circumstance is, whatever the options are, those options are going to go on a journey with you. So the options that you think you have in like May, June time period, they're going to evolve and change until we get to August. So not only is the situation itself fluid and changeable, but there's also hidden options that you're going to have to be patient and observant enough to suss out. So don't expect to have to agree to, path A or path B or, anything else. The whole alphabet can be included in that. Don't feel like in June, whatever choices you're making or whatever ways you're considering investing yourself, your time, your energy, your money, whatever, don't think that these options are going to stay the same. They're going to grow and evolve. Whether or not you actually choose one before August, whether or not you actually start investing yourself in a particular creative project or start, getting involved with one person over another or whatever, the situation is going to develop on its own, in its own way, independent from you, and your desires are going to be changing as well. So perspectives and desires are going to be changing between May and August, and everything that you think you're going to do in June is probably going to shift between June and August. So don't take it too seriously. I feel like you're almost going to be like aiming for something, but then you're going to hit a different target altogether. But it's going to be like the target that you want to hit. It just, you didn't know that there was another target behind the one that you're aiming at that's actually more suited to you. So it ain't over till it's over. That's kind of what I see here, is like there's this going on, there's waves. So that's kind of what I'm seeing between May and August. September, everything kind of, the chips fall. September is a month where the chips fall, something significant and potentially life-changing, because we have the Tower. And I feel with the Tower and the Four of Pentacles, it's so funny how often these cards actually come up together, considering that they're completely opposite energies. But they really are thematically connected, because, you know, the Tower has four corners here. It's a square tower, just like the four corners of a house, or, you know, the Four Pentacles that this gentleman is grabbing onto. And it implies the kind of tired and worn out structures and routines of our life. So when I'm looking at this for you for September and October, with September showing up as the Tower, it's like something big changes in your life in September, and I think it's good. I don't think it's a bad thing, because you also have the Magician in November, Scorpio season. But I think that you kind of need, and that would be also in September, it would be around your half birthday if you're a Pisces sun, because I'll be in Virgo season. Virgo season, there's some kind of big shift that happens, and I feel like immediately after that shift, there could be a period of time for you, Pisces, where you're kind of trying to get your bearings. And there may be some small part of you that wants to kind of hang on to the way that things were with the Four of Pentacles. But I see this change as integral to your personal growth. I see this change as something that on a deep level, you actually really knew is coming. You knew was coming, and you know that that's what you want, and that's actually what you need. But I feel like because it represents such a big shift for you, it's like there's some potential resistance afterwards and wanting to kind of go back to the way that things were. If we're looking at this from a career perspective, it could be like that you get a big promotion, or you leave your job for a better job or something like that. And in the interim of that transitional period of time where you're doing the new thing, you might feel a little uncomfortable because you're used to a certain level of productivity and mastery over whatever it is that you're doing. And you might almost feel like, gosh, I wish things could be simpler again, even though maybe the thing that the Tower is breaking you free from was something that you actually were bored of or tired of, you know? But once you get out into this new territory, sometimes you can be kind of hard on yourself, because you're like, wait, what am I doing? You know, you're kind of looking at the efforts that you put out, and you're wanting to see that they are going to pay off, you know, the way that they used to. And sometimes when we're doing something new, they just don't. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just normal. When we're doing something new, we're not as good at it as we are going to be when we've been doing it for 10 years. It's just how it is. So just embrace, like, being a beginner, I think. And that's why we see the Magician coming up in November. I also see this kind of largely during Scorpio season. I think that this is going to be a time period in which you feel empowered to start new things, to try new things, to be the initiator and the ruler of your own destiny, Pisces. And I see you actually working real magic in the world. Maybe you're getting a reading that feels very magical from a reader, or giving a reading that feels very magical and there's tons of synchronicities. Or maybe you're actually working with natural magic and doing things that are proving to you that you can affect your life situation through occulted and personal private means. And that's what the Magician is all about. It's taking personal responsibility for the energies of your own life. And you can do that using any technology, witchy or not. Just the Magician is about harnessing the tools that you have access to and using them wisely. So I see you doing that in November, whether it's kind of more metaphysical work that you're doing, or if it's creative work, like literally feeling like you're channeling a book or channeling a song that you're creating. So very creative month in November. December, we do have the Ten of Swords. So I feel like at the end of the year, you're making a really significant like intention, I feel, to end something that you're done with. And I want to get a little bit more information on this for you, Pisces. So I'll just pull another Witch's Tarot card just to get some insight into like what area of life this is. Three of Cups. Wow. So you could be ending like some kind of friendship with someone. Maybe if you're feeling a little bit like you have somebody in your life who's always having drama, or if you have somebody in your life who is dragging you down in some way or not being very respectful. You know, I think that one of the things that is your greatest strength as a Pisces is how sensitive you are and how empathic you are. But like any strength that anyone has, it can also become a weakness if it goes too far. So there could be something going on at the end of the year where you're like, you know what, I love you and I release you. I feel this specifically more as like a friend, like than a family member, but for a couple of you it could be a family member. But I feel this more with the Three of Cups as like maybe a friend or a colleague or someone like that, that you're just like, you know, I feel that I can do a lot more with my time and energy, and the way that this relationship is affecting me is actually that it's draining me. And so I just have to be honest and honor that. And so it may not be the easiest thing to do, but I think that it's the right thing to do. So you'll probably know what this is referring to, and if you don't experience this, Pisces, then you probably already did this work, you know, maybe this year or last year or something. But for some of you, I see this coming up as a potential at the end of the year where it's like, okay, you know, I need to edit the people that I spend the most time with. Like I need to make some edits to that part of my life, because we are kind of like an amalgamation of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So there's a lot of truth to that. And I think that for you, Pisces, you're just like, you know what, this doesn't fit anymore. But you also have the Magician as we go out of the year. So it's like a lot of good things are happening. And because of that, you have to free up even more of yourself. And if you're around people who don't let you blossom to be your full self, they gotta go. That's how it is. Gratitude is your word for the year from the Soul Trees Oracle deck. And I love this because I feel like it really is an indication that you're going to be really blessed this year, Pisces. And I feel that, you know, from you. That was the kind of spiritual energy that was coming through in your meditation. Was just like the gratitude for, I want to say like the gratitude just to spirit. I don't know if I can say that, but I feel like it is just the gratitude of knowing that you're connected and knowing that you are protected spiritually as well, and receiving guidance through synchronicities and signs, and just feeling really, when you feel protected in that way, when you feel secure in that way within yourself and your connection to your higher self, to, you know, the divine, to your guides, angels, you know, whoever it is that you connect with, I just think it opens up the door for you to appreciate everything in the material world, you know, because you see that there's more going on. So you're able to engage with life on all levels, not just the spiritual and not just the material, but you can see the juxtaposition of the two. So that's what I'm getting for you. It looks like it's going to be a really joyful year, Pisces. Thank you so much for watching. And if you got something useful out of this reading, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. I would absolutely love to hear from you in the comments as well. If you're still with me, go ahead and give me a little fish emoji or a Pisces zodiac sign emoji. I would absolutely love that. And if you don't have emojis, just go ahead and leave me a comment that says, I'm still with you, Kayleigh Jean, because I absolutely love it. I know these readings are long, especially the year aheads. I feel like it's my responsibility to you as your reader to say everything as clearly as possible and to offer additional examples so that you can get 360 degrees of guidance through each morsel of a message that comes through me as a channel, because I really want to illustrate the messages that are coming through. I never want to like edit them too much with my subjective view of the world. So part of why these readings get so long is that I circle things. And so I know that they're long, and I just really appreciate everybody who sticks with me to the end and gets something useful out of these readings. You are the reason I do this work. So thank you so, so much for being with me, and I'm sending you so much love. If you'd like to donate even $1 or any amount, I will put the link to donate to support my channel right below this video. It would be amazing because these readings have taken so much time for me this month. And yeah, so if you feel called to donate to support my channel, I will be sending you a major prayer for your prosperity and your continued abundance and gratitude. And if you'd like to have me look at your personal energies through your birth chart, transits, or your own 2020 Best Year Ever Tarot reading, I will put the link to my website below. I'm sending you so much love, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.